Welcome to the Chestnuts channel, everyone. Joining me today is Virginia Kring. She's down in Central Georgia in the U.S. South. She's a dedicated mother down there and a lover of history and genealogy. In June is MacThomas month on the Chestnut channel, as well as the Clanhattan Association YouTube channels. And so therefore, I have gone right to the source that I know the best, which is Virginia. She's the Clan MacThomas Society worldwide social media head, and she's also the North American branch representative for Clan MacThomas. Thanks for joining us, Virginia.
Thank you for having me, Ray.
Geez, we've been back and forth talking for a while, I know, and so good to get together finally, somewhat. Um, I know you're quite into the Highland Games down in that section of the country, just as I am here in New England. Is that already started in for you? You've been to a few already?
I haven't been to any of so far. I have helped facilitate some. We had the Dunedin Games down in Florida,
Yes.
and we've got Blairsville, Georgia, coming up this weekend, which will be the first games that my husband will participate in this year,
Okay.
throwing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I talked to Nathan a short while ago. We're going to be having his interview about all the athletics that he does pretty soon. And what time is? I hear a lot about the Stone Mountain one. I've never been down to it. I've been to Stone Mountain at a different time of year. What time is that? When does that one take place?
Stone Mountain is in October.
Okay.
It's about mid-October, and it's about a 4-day event. I know, like technically it's 2 days, but if you are a sponsor, they have all kinds of like pre-game activities.
Right.
They usually have some historic lectures come in, and a Kaylee and a dinner, and it's a wonderful experience if you're a sponsor. It's wonderful if you're just a spectator, but um, they are having some changes, so it's not just it used to be kind of open for the athletes, but now I think it's more of they're having like world championships held there, or it might be national championships, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
That does limit the field. So he won't be throwing in Stone Mountain anymore unless they change that, but we will still have a tent and participate in the parade of tartans and
Right.
everything that it has to offer. And we will be there this year with a MacThomas tent, along with the Clanhattan Association.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, our friend Cindy is going to be there, is she?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
excellent. Excellent. Now, do they run Stone Mountain with the tartans as like grandfather? They have their own tartans there at the field, and they stay there and they bring them out for the festival. Is that the
They
kind of thing,
do
or do you
have
bring your
like
own?
they have a tartan. I'm not sure, the tartan woods. It's in
Oh, I've
it's in a
seen this.
wooded area, and
Yep.
it's the flags of tartans that have all the names written above it. But
Okay.
as for the parade itself, everybody has their own.
Okay. But those flags I've seen in the forest, those are the game's property. I see. That's
Yes,
kind of a neat thing to see.
it is. Yes.
And that's nice that they do it because if it was a sparse year for clans or anything like such, it wouldn't look the same quite as when they do it
No, yeah, you're
themselves.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, they do it. At Grandfather, they kind of issue you one. It's like a library of the banners they want you to use as uniformity and things. It comes out nice. Um, so I know
That's
Savannah.
interesting because when we were at Grandfather, we used our own.
Did you really? Huh.
Yes. So that was
Interesting.
a few years ago. We will be at Grandfather also this year. So I'm hoping that we will, they'll give us some more information on that, and we'll know if they want us to use theirs or if we can use our own, but we do have our own. So
Right. So speaking of well, the South, and I know the Appalachians and such. I'm interested to know about McThomas's arrival in the North American things. What do you know about that? I know a lot of people
so
talk about
from
where someone entered and where they kind of dispersed to and such.
yeah, there we had many years where we went without a chief. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Hmm.
Um and my our current chief, he's the 19th, and his father helped to reestablish the chiefly line and to get it proven and approved of,
Yep.
and get his title back essentially.
Mm.
And once so during all of the time that we didn't have a chief, the clan itself scattered. We had some that went to Dundee, some that went back up to Inverness, and some that went south over town to Glasgow, and there's still McCombs and other of our SEP names there. But then there was some back and forthness between Ireland, and we have some that came directly from Scotland over to Canada,
Hmm.
some that were the Scot Irish that came down from Ireland into the Carolinas, also into Pennsylvania. And from Pennsylvania, they traveled the Great Wagon Road all the way down into North and South Carolina and Eastern Tennessee.
Right.
My particular family, I'm kind of stuck on about the mid 1700s, about 1760-ish. My Macomb family just kind of popped up in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're buried there at the Settler Cemetery right in the center of Charlotte. And my Macomb was a tavern owner. He ran a tavern out of his home and reapplied for it year after year and was in the hospitality business. And we stayed in the hospitality business for the next 4 generations from moving
Oh,
from Charlotte down to Milledgeville, Georgia.
interesting. Hmm. Now, speaking of MacThomas is coming over to this to this hemisphere, I know the chief visited a while ago, and you were involved in all the planning and all the logistics involved in that. That must have been quite an undertaking, Virginia.
Um, it was a little scary because I had never done anything like that before. And as an American, I think we kind of and I don't think I'm alone in this, but we kind of put our chiefs up on this little pedestal. And
Mhm.
to us, it's like having royalty come to visit. And
Certainly,
we want the best when they come, and want to put a good face forward, for them, and have the best for them. And
of course.
um I communicated with a hotel that was there in Banner Elk, which is right outside of Grandfather Mountain.
I know it. Yep.
And we were already going to be having the Grandfather Mountain dinner there, and we went ahead and rented a separate room for a different night and had a Clan MacThomas meeting and banquet for him. And they had a catering service that was already in place, somebody that they were, that they already had a good rapport with. And
Right.
that caterer worked with us to give us a great Scottish fare. It was wonderful. I had my first Scottish rumbly thumps.
Oh,
I
wonderful.
don't know if you've ever had that, but it is
Sure.
by far one of my favorite dishes.
Right.
And my children helped. We put together centerpieces. My church actually allowed me to bring stuff with me from Milledgeville, from our decoration room that we have.
Hmm.
So I had vases with floating thistles inside of them and floating candles on top,
Great.
and
Yep.
really tried to, make the place look as elegant as we could. And we had a piper, and he's now our piper for the North American branch. His name is David Thomas, and he will actually be our host at Grandfather Mountain this year. And we have had just a great. It was a great coming together because I was not convener. Rob McComas was the convener at that time,
Okay.
and it was just a team effort to get everything done. And we did take our chief to the top of Grandfather Mountain, and my son shared his first corn dog with our chief, and quote unquote taught him how to eat a corn dog.
Right.
And he he was very excited to see how high he was at Grandfather Mountain, because Grandfather is higher than any mountain in Scotland,
Ah,
and he thought that was just fantastic. And I really enjoyed just sharing that moment with him. It was something very special for me and my family.
right. What a gem of a moment to have in your memory, and
Yeah,
for him too, I'm sure.
I hope so.
I think he's a pretty personable fellow. He's looking back on that the same as you are, I'm sure. I bet we don't have too many McThomas tents up here, but we did for a while. I know a gentleman from it's got to be 15 years or more now. He passed away, maybe 12. His name was Roderick Mooney.
Yes, I've heard
Remember him?
that name. I did not know him, but he is still spoken of.
Okay, good.
But
He
it
should
was
be.
before my time.
Right. Quite a guy. And he's really the only McThomas tent I knew up here, but he had a huge amount of books and such. I remember him telling me that he shipped trailer load of books somewhere out to, I want to say Minnesota, some kind of a library that someone had set up.
Yes, we
Um,
and the repository that was our repository, and it
oh,
has
okay.
been moved to the Highland. I'm not sure exactly what they call it, but it's the Highland Clan muse not museum, but library in Colquitt County, Georgia. And
Oh,
since I'm, closest to it, I guess,
right.
I became the repository for that as well. And that's where we try to put copies of our newsletter and our books and such go there. It's a very fascinating little library. It was bigger than I thought it was going to be. And the whole section is dedicated to Highland clans.
Yep. He was quite a guy, and he had such a collection of books and just knowledge. I stayed at his house overnight one time before a games that I was in his area, and I went home with an armload of books. He had so many books, it's unbelievable. Great,
Yeah,
great.
I've seen several things that he has written in our new old newsletters and such.
Yes, I meant to
Yeah,
mention that. Yeah, yeah, he's quite a bard. He's quite the bard.
yeah,
Quite a guy. Um, Now Nathan told me that he and yourself went over to Scotland for the gathering. Is it Glen
we
Shee?
did.
Am I saying that right?
Yes, Glen Shee
Okay.
means Glen of the Fairies.
Over to Scotland for the. Did you renew your vows, or you got married there, or what am I looking at there? If you don't mind me asking.
Yes, we renewed our wedding vows, and the
Oh,
chief officiated for us.
oh, lovely. Oh, nice.
It's quite a story.
Okay.
So we asked him because the gathering was actually going to happen on our 20th wedding anniversary.
Ah,
And so we kind of combined going to the gathering and celebrating our anniversary as well. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if the chief would renew our wedding vows for us? And I kind of had it in my mind that we would just, when we went to the Clochnacoily, the boulder, that we
yeah.
would just kind of step aside after everything was over and say a few words, and that would be it. We actually ended up in the Kirk of Glen Isla, which is a little further down the glen from Glen Shee, because that's where we were going to have our annual general meeting. And after the meeting was over, he basically just told everybody that we were going to renew our vows, and anybody that didn't wish to stay could go ahead and go over to the little fellowship hall and have lunch. Well, everybody stayed. My newfound cousin Bonnie, she bought me a bouquet of flowers. I was not expecting to have flowers.
Oh,
When I sat down on the front bench before our meeting, I sat on something. I wasn't sure what it was, and I pulled it out, and it was a vial of wedding bubbles that someone had left there from a previous wedding. So then we had bubbles. Bonnie's sister, Christina, my other new cousin that I discovered on that journey, this was our videographer. And then our Australian branch convener and piper volunteered to pipe us out of the church and asked me what song I would like. And I asked him to play my dad's favorite tune, which was Loch Lomond.
oh,
My father has passed, and that was one of the songs that first got me interested in Scottish culture. And he played Loch Lomond as we left the church. And the society had actually hired a professional photographer just to come and photograph our day with us. So I ended up having a professional photographer for the wedding. And none of this was planned. Like, this
right,
was not on purpose. And then when we got piped out of the church, we stood outside the door, and everybody came out and thanked us for letting them be a part of it, and how wonderful it was. It was like a little receiving line that we also did not plan.
right,
Um, then we went over to the little fellowship hall, and the ladies had sandwiches and soup and cheesecake for us. Cheesecake is my husband's favorite cake, so it was like a little wedding reception that we
yeah,
also did not plan.
I
And
see.
I don't know if you've ever watched the Outlander series,
Not much,
but
but
they're in the very first season, they have some ladies come over from the Highland Folklore Museum,
mhm.
and they do a wool walking um
Oh,
exhibition
yes,
and teach us
I've seen a
about
video on your YouTube.
right. Yes. And they were in the Outlander series, and I recognized them from that. And we had invited them. I just didn't know that it was all happening at the same time. So
Ah,
I got to meet Outlander stars in my
right.
mind
Yeah.
and do wool walking and have what felt like a real wedding, and
Right.
none of it was planned.
God, it all just fell together like a little fairy tale.
Yeah,
MacThomas fairy
in
tale, ladies
one
and
of the most
gentlemen.
magical places on earth. So
Right. And some of the video from that is on, well, MacThomas has their own YouTube channel, everybody. Is it MacThomas Society? What's the name of it, Virginia?
it's yes, it's the Clan MacThomas Society, and then on YouTube. The wedding video is on my personal channel, which is called Southern Shenanigans.
Right. The wool walking is what I meant, and a few other highlights there. But on
Yes,
the
the wool walking is definitely there. The some of the piping is on there as well.
you're what we call a tent convener for in Georgia and near yourself. Are there a lot of MacThomases in the country, or are you looking for some help with that?
We're always looking for more help. We have been incorporating Zoom to really help us connect a little more.
Hmm.
We've got some new people that are going to be helping us with the tents. So we've got tents happening in Washington at the Prosser Games. I think I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Possibly a few more in the Washington and Oregon area, which we've never had before.
Good.
I already told you about we did Florida at Dunedin. We will
Yep.
be doing Stone Mountain and Grandfather Mountain, and possibly some more when more people volunteer for it, because we are a volunteer organization and we can't do anything without our volunteers.
Right. If anyone's listening up here in New England where I live, I usually give people a little bit of a hand if they're new at it. I'd be willing to do that if someone wants to get a start with MacThomas through Virginia and meet me at one of our festivals. I would be willing to kind of take you under my wing a little bit, let you know what goes on and what happens, because it's a little bit intimidating. But if you have someone there that you're
It
going to be
is.
meeting that day and let you know, kind of get your foot in the door, it's a nice help and a good feeling. That's what happens with me, and that's how this works.
Yeah, we do have like one of our conveners is going to be doing a joint tent with Clint Montgomery. That's the one that's happening in Washington
Uh-huh.
because she's not done one solely by herself.
Yep.
And and when you want to get started and you're a little intimidated, but you already know someone that's there,
Right.
see if somebody will do a joint tent with you.
Sure.
There's no rules against it. So,
Right. Absolutely. And it can be intimidating. As far as just what to bring, I think clan knowledge is one thing, but it's a lot of tent and stakes and driving and weather and other things involved in it, and quite a bit. But it's very rewarding.
oh yes,
I think
we
so.
love it.
All right. So the Clan MacThomas Society is a worldwide organization, and you're the branch representative for the U.S. Is that North America,
Correct.
Australia?
Yes, we have an Australian branch and a European branch.
I see. Oh, European has one chairman type of thing, or one, I should say, one branch representative.
Well, we have representatives on our council, but then they also have secretaries and we have a merchandise representative, and we have more than just those positions.
Right.
And I'm getting buzzed by a hummingbird.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my blueberries are just starting to make. Well, they're still green here, but you're a little bit ahead of me. Um, Now membership. So you have a. What do you offer? 1 year and 5 year memberships for MacThomas Society? How's that run?
It's a 1 year,
Hmm.
and it can be setting up as a recurring payment on PayPal for the Americas, I believe. PayPal's a little weird when you're trying to do it through different countries, but there are options, and it's on our website, theclanmcthomas.org.
What's the title of your newsletter? I know it's an excellent one. And it's a few of them a year.
So we just have the the magazine right now, which is
Okay.
the clock, and that is international, so it goes to every member in the entire society. And then each branch has their own newsletter. So we have the
Okay.
North American branch newsletter, Australian branch newsletter, etc.
Well, that's nice that you have it. You have an all-encompassing one and some other ones that are tailored locally. That's great.
Hmm.
That's that's uh that's good. It makes it a little bit more personable for everyone to know that they're well, what's happening in their local area somewhat.
Yeah.
So Cindy McIntosh will be with the Clanhattan Association down there, and I know, I think there's a McIntosh usually down at Stone Mountain and some other ones.
Yes.
Well, she is a McIntosh, of course, but she probably won't be doing the McIntosh tent. I'll be speaking with her soon because it's MacThomas month, so we'll get together on something about MacThomas. Have you spoken to Cindy at all
Yes.
about
Yes. She
about?
and I
Okay.
will be speaking together
Oh,
again
good.
soon.
Okay. All right, good. And so grandfather is in July, and then when is the Savannah one? I don't. Nathan told me
That's
about
already
it.
over. It was in the beginning of May.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it didn't mesh with our schedule this year, so we did not do Savannah this year. And I missed it. I didn't know if I would, but boy, I did. When the pictures started coming out and the videos, I was like, "Oh,
Right.
we weren't there."
I know what you mean. We have our same up here, little gems that we like, and every single event has different things that we love about it. That we,
Yeah. And Savannah's a beautiful campus. If you've never been, Savannah is so beautiful. It's on a historic school and it's right on the marshland with the giant oaks with the Spanish moss hanging from it. And it is just a beautiful setting. It really is.
nice. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I think we're going to be out of time pretty soon here, Virginia.
Okay.
Um, if you can get me some photographs and such, which I know you're going to be sending me,
They're already in your
or have
email.
already, right?
They're already okay.
She sent me some great gems about her impromptu renewal of vows and everything that came together so nicely. It looks planned to me, folks, and wait till you see that. If she doesn't mind us showing some of those on here, is that okay with you?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on here on the Chestnut channel for MacThomas month. Perhaps we'll talk again. I know you and I talk regularly anyways.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
can talk anytime you want.
all right. So we'll be putting this out on the Chestnut channel in the next week or so, probably. As well as Virginia's husband, Nathan Kring, is a Highland athlete, and he and I had already met and had a conversation, which I'm going to also put out soon. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. And
Thank you.
all righty, good luck, Virginia.
Thank you.
That's not
Bye bye.
everyone. Bye bye.